Hey kids, remember when Aaron Rodgers, future Hall of Famer, used to be on the then Pat McAfee show, made those wacky statements about Kimmel being on the Epstein flight law list?
What the fuck?
Which was true, by the way, then got him banned off the Pat McAfee show.
Oh, it's true!
A bullshit?
Well, he showed up on Joe Rogan
What the fuck?
and doubled down.
I'm going to be more obnoxious, more overbearing.
And doesn't give up. I'm Jasper Gonzo on this.
Woo!
So what's next? What's up, party people? Jasper Gonzo, what's next? Daily dose, common sense, facts, and salt. Hope you guys are doing good today. Well, let's take a trip in the way back. Remember Aaron Rodgers? Current NFL quarterback for the Jets. Future Hall of Famer. Of course, Super Bowl champion, league MVP. Back in the day, go back a couple years, Aaron Rodgers was talking about COVID. He was talking about the vaccines, the magical vaxes, and how he had questions about them. He was very skeptical about them. So, of course, what did he do? He was invited on the Pat McAfee show to talk, of course, football, of course, and other sports. But then he started talking about COVID. He started talking about the vaccines, and it caught fire. Pat McAfee's numbers went up, and of course, more people got interested in Aaron Rodgers. But of course, you had those in the media who started to hate his guts because of such, and they wanted to cancel him. But Pat McAfee kept them on until he didn't. Push came to shove. Fast forward now. Push came to shove when Jimmy Kimmel was brought into the picture regarding one Jeffrey Epstein, the late Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, Epstein didn't kill himself. And Pedo Island, and Epstein's flight log list. And Jimmy Kimmel was on the list. That's a fact. Kimmel denied it all on his show, but it's a fact. So much so that there was heat brought. There was heat brought down on ESPN and Pat McAfee to the point where they banned one Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers recently showed up on Joe Rogan and drops the hammer more so and doubles down on COVID, on the vaccines, and of course, Jimmy Kimmel. And here we go. This comes out of Outkick. Aaron Rodgers defends his Jimmy Kimmel comment on Epstein's log on the Joe Rogan Experience. Aaron Rodgers is still on damage control, stemming from his claim that the late-night host and professional crybaby Jimmy Kimmel's name would definitely appear on Jeffrey Epstein's flight log list, which it did. Rodgers got under Kimmel's skin, and the ABC Disney's after making the so-called wild suggestion, on the Pat McAfee show. Not only was Rodgers barred from appearing on Pat McAfee, his critics amplified his newfound conspiracy theorist characterizations, compounding the anti-vaxxer attacks. Rodgers tackled the Kimmel backlash, appearing on a recent episode of Joe Rogan, speaking with another beloved conspiracy theorist. Rogan asserted that his comments on Kimmel were taken out of context. We're going to go to the Joe Rogan Experience, and Rodgers talks about the COVID, talks about the vax, and of course Kimmel and the list.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
How do you feel talking about all this stuff, being this prominent?
I'm not going to show the whole entire clip. It's about 8+ minutes long, but I'll just get to the parts.
You know, like
less revered now.
Well, not really. Not when you kick ass. They let all that shit go. All that COVID shit they let go as soon as you got back on the field.
I was COVID MVP. I was a two-time MVP during COVID.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
They had to shut the fuck up when it comes down to the performance.
Yeah.
Boom.
Know? And then over time, I think a lot of people that demonized you, especially the fans, they realized you were right.
Yeah. Well, I don't think all of them will entirely admit that. But,
right. In the back of their head, they know you weren't nearly as nutty as they thought you were.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more research comes out. There's more papers published in very reputable scientific publications that talk about, all the things that I was kind of stopping for and talking about. I think in the end, you're on a decision. You stand for something. You stand courageously for what you believe in, or the opposite side of that is either saying nothing or being a coward. And I wasn't willing
Facts.
to do that. Now, say whatever you want about the way I went about doing it. In the end, I made a decision that was best for me, and I'm going to continue talking about this stuff because it's important to me, and I don't.
It's important to a
want,
lot of people. It's important to a lot of people.
The memories to be lost. I don't want what I went through to get brushed over. And also, I don't give a fuck. You know,
Boom! Hold on, let me leave the room now.
In a sport that I'm really good at, and I'm thankful for that. I have a platform. Some people want you to just shut up and throw a football, and that's fine. But I think there has to be certain voices of reason. And
talk a little bit
many
about
people
that in
say
my
I'm an
thoughts
idiot,
as
and
well.
I'm not smart. I got attacked for my intelligence levels, which is an interesting angle to attack now. There's a lot of things you can say about me, but
Why was he wearing that outfit? Is there an explanation for why Klaus Schwab was?
Talks a little about
dressed
Klaus
up?
Schwab. And then he gets
I think he was on Epstein's island.
to Kimmel.
Was he? No, he probably has his own island. Yeah, it's probably under the ocean.
Sorry, I'm not accusing.
I won't put
Mr.
I won't
Klaus Schwab
put
of
anything
Epstein's
past Colonel
Why did you
Klink.
bring up Jimmy Kimmel when that whole thing was going on?
I had said on the McAfee show before, they had talked about, forever they talked about releasing the Epstein list
Right.
or whatever. And I had said that on the show, and he had got on his show and called me a tinfoil hat wearing, doofus who is talking about, I thought he had said that I'm an idiot for even thinking there's a list that's out there.
What was he saying you're a doofus for thinking?
That the list was going to get released, I guess. I don't know
That
what it
doesn't
was.
make any sense. Why would anybody defend the people that apparently were on that list? Because it is a real list.
There was
and it is a
something
real
about
place.
there was something, a conversation that Pat was having about this list coming out, and we were talking about as a distraction to something else, and I was referring to the list being that there being a list and it coming out. He might have been thinking that I was trying to connect a distraction that was going on with the list being released. So I just said,
So when you were saying that he doesn't want that list to come out, you weren't saying that he was on that
No.
list? No. Okay. See, that was a lot of people, if they saw it out of context.
nobody watched the fucking clip. That's why.
Right.
They just saw a
So they saw
headline.
a very
It's the
small
anti-vax
thing.
guy again. Let's fucking
Right.
hammer
Well,
him.
Right. But
Rogers don't give. That's what it comes down to. He doesn't give up. But he made several interesting points. Funny how when the media speaks about Aaron Rodgers, tinfoil hat wearing, conspiracy theorist, know nothing, just throw the football, Aaron. As compared to one LeBron James, who puts on some glasses and puts on a suit with a bow tie, sits down, and all of a sudden, he knows everything political. He knows all about the racisms. When in reality, I think he read a book once in regards to either speak up, stand by what you mean, be compassionate about what you mean, or you sit there and do nothing, say nothing, and be a coward. That's strong words. Also, when it came to the list, the fact of the matter is that Kimmel is on the list. But what Rodgers, of course, what was taken out of context regarding Rodgers in that comment was everybody thought that, well, Kimmel's on the list, so he must be a part of the pedo gang. No. He never meant that in any way, shape, or form. He just said Kimmel's on the list. Guess what? He's on the list. Along with Donald Trump. Along with other several celebrities are on the list. Politicians are all on that list. It's a real list. It's a real island. Shit happened on that island. But you need to separate what happened on that island. Of course, Bill Clinton, anyone? What happened on that island to being on the actual flight log list. That's where the separation has to be. And of course, investigations. But you notice how, as fast as that list came out, poof, disappeared off the landscape. And of course, Aaron Rodgers got banned from the Pat McAfee show. Pat says he did it on his own because, things were getting a little too crazy. No, and I said it on a video when I did this, when the story broke, that ESPN came down and said, Pat, you need to make a decision, son. Either you get rid of Rodgers or we get rid of you. even though you just signed a contract for several $1 million earlier in the summer of 23. And we saw the result. But Rodgers doubles down. And of course, Rogan, who they tried to roast, for taking horse paste, which of course was absolute bullshit. And he came back from it. Rodgers came back from it. And again, you're going to have idiots who see this clip and going to say, Rodgers is still wrong. When in the back of their heads, yeah, he was right. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue to spread the word about the show, help it continue to grow. And we'll see you next time. Peace.